We are calling to order the Conventions, Tourism, and Public Entertainment Facilities Committee. I am so glad to see you all. I detect a quorum here.
Glad to see you as well.
And I'd just like to present our first resolution, which is from Councilman O'Connell, and Councilwoman Weiner is co-sponsor of it. And it is acceptance of a grant from the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation to the Metro government to help offset special event expenses to cover safety and security needs, traffic control, and emergency management for the 2019 National Football League Draft.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
How many people are we expecting between the river and Fifth at any given moment?
A lot.
About 100,000 a day.
A day.
Did you say 100,000?
Yes.
The biggest event we've ever had.
Yeah.
And then add the marathon and
marathon
a
is
possible
Saturday.
Predators playoff
And
game.
Jimmy Buffett is
all
going to
the
be
same
here
week.
that night.
What's that day?
And Buffett.
Right.
It's the last weekend in April, 25, 26, 27.
It would be a really good time to go on vacation.
Said the locals.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that's one of the things. Actually, it's a good segue. It's like my mantra with convention and visitors stuff is that we stay in. We're in the best staycation city in the world, and we want to make sure that all Nashvilleians know that this is for them and not just for the visitors. It's easier if you're flying in for it or your car's parked at your hotel to get out and run around. But what can we do to explain to the people who live here the best way to transit in or to access the festivities when they don't?
Uber.
Just where the Uber drops are, or where that kind of, if there's something we can do to make sure that the residents of Davidson County have a clear understanding of how to get in and out. I'm not even talking about the employees, because good luck, they're just going to spend the night. You can put cots up probably. But I think that might be something that we can do as a council to help get out to the constituents, It's free, so it's going to be crazy. But how do you, it's like, if I'm a mom with a 10-year-old daughter that loves NFL football, how do I even think about doing this? How do I do this?
Well, and I think that Terry probably can share with us the best method and the best message to get out.
Well, there's not going to be any vehicular traffic in the footprint, so it's going to be park and walk. And parking's going to be probably a premium. And there's probably there's definitely some employers that are going to encourage their folks to work from home during that 3-day period. The one other place I could use your help, if you have any constituents that have businesses in the footprint, we're not asking, we're begging them to put together a manifest of every single delivery that should come to them over that 4-day period. Because there's going to be 2 entrances that are locked by police and barricades, and those are going to be the only 2 ways in and out. And we're going to have a manifest that says at 10:01, Cisco's got a truck and here's the... So that every single delivery that they're going to have is either going to have to be on that manifest or wait in line.
Is it all in District 19?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole thing?
Both sides of the river.
Yeah. What is it? It's 6, right?
Part of it's Brett's, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 19.6.
Yeah, 19.6.
So you said it's the NFL draft, it's the, one of the
Marathon.
Preds
Country
game,
Music Marathon on Saturday.
marathon,
Well,
what else did you say?
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy
Jimmy
Buffett
Buffett concert Friday night, and possibly a Preds playoff game.
Yeah.
Grief.
The Skirmer is being used as a NFL facility.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Hey, listen,
It's going to be amazing.
I just think you and Butch have done a great job with this.
Yeah, I do. I think it's
Seriously.
great that we've done that, but I too have those concerns about parking, because your everyday layperson wouldn't have the opportunity to come to those things, even though it is free. They cannot afford an Uber. So how can we do that? So I agree with what it is that you're saying, and maybe they can come to
This would be a great time to
Jefferson.
try the bus.
Well, I was
Right, I was
going
about to
to
say, maybe they can come to
I'm
Jefferson
I'm
Street.
sure you guys have had an ongoing conversation conversation with MTA
You bet.
about
Well,
park and ride locations.
We go.
Well, that was my thing, is that maybe we could have them channeled to some particular place where it'll be easy, like to TSU and Park and Gentry, and be able to catch the Circuit City bus that's free for them. Somehow give them some options to be able to do it. Cherry?
So to that point, I would ask Patrick from the mayor's office, in collaboration with Cherry and his group, to come up with some type of message that can be presented to the community insofar as available park and ride locations that are in the vicinity to make life easier for them. And if we can waive the fee for busing from point A to point B, even or reduce it for people that show a Davidson County driver's license, that would really help. And I think that would
might be
be something
interesting.
that would encourage local participation as well, or at least make it available to them.
So we just today have been finalizing the train schedule. We will be running Music City Star into the footprint, so we've been finalizing that. We've been working with MTA at WeGo on revised bus routes because of the lane closures downtown as those really implementing that. So we're almost final on a plan. So one of the things that in the communication plans leading up to, we'll be sending out to council members a list of this is the roads that are going to be impacted because those start as early as April 5th. We start losing some streets downtown.
Of course.
Rolling into that. So the information that you guys can communicate out about the impact of the event, but also about how your constituents could take advantage of the event. For example, lots A, B, C, and D at the Titan Stadium will remain open and be free parking for the event. And so we'll be keeping those open. The mayor's also been in talks with the state with CBC's cooperation on doing flex time for our employees, encouraging businesses downtown, non-essential service. What could that look like for Metro to try to help get some of the congestion out to also free up some of the available parking.
And you might work with some of the churches or with TSU, like they have their downtown campus, and it'll be, easier. So we collaborate and partner to make sure that we're providing opportunities for our constituents. And on that same level, and I don't like to spoil anything, but I think we have to talk about these things. And I'd like to know, how do you develop the host committees when we have things like this? Because I'd like to see this discussed on the front end and not on the back end. So we can make sure that when we make these plans, that we are preparing as best as we possibly can to be inclusive of all people. So I just wanted to make that statement, that that's something that we should do. Yes, Nancy.
Just for a point of clarity, I know that you guys are already working on where you can park and where you can, but I think that actual bus numbers and park and rides, and when I get off my bus, what do I do? I mean, all the way down to, I've never ridden the bus before. This is the one time I'm going to try this. I can get there in two buses or one bus, or where do I go? Make it, reduce it down to the ridiculous. From east, west, north, south, and then we can get that out.
That's a great idea.
And this could also be a real opportunity to showcase WeGo.
Yeah.
That is true. But I don't think we should fire the District 19 council person over this, like we just said.
No, it was a good idea, but
I don't know.
Okay, let's.
All right, I'll pull my motion
Pull your
off the
motion.
table.
Okay.
I'm going to abstain.
It's going to be fantastic, and I think a lot of it obviously is going to be on ESPN and all that stuff. But will the convention center also be broadcasting anything on their website or
On Metro 3?
on Metro 3 or on the?
Bear with me 2 seconds.
Visit
I'm in
Music
two
City.
places at once.
Metro 3, I don't know of, and I'd be concerned of some rights and things.
Exactly right.
That's why I was wondering if Visit Music City.
Oh, yeah. No. The NFL is never going to allow you to
Yeah, I
throw
think it's
this
on
out there.
4 networks.
They own it all.
All right, so we're.
Any other discussions?
Yeah,
Any questions?
Call the question.
it's a lot.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it's unanimous. Thank you very much.
That's great. Good
Let's see,
team
let me
start.
make sure. Is
We're
there
not done
another?
yet. We got another
We
one.
do have
I thought there
another.
was just one.
We do have one more. And this is Bill 1528, Bill 2019-1528, O'Connor, Weiner, and Hurt. This is for the provision of a designation of public property within specified areas of downtown Nashville as a temporary special event zone during the time period beginning at midnight on April 24th and ending at 8 a.m. on April 28th. This too is relative to the use of these areas in conjunction with the 2019 National Football League Draft and related activities and events.
So moved.
Second.
And I can
Yes.
just, we as a body have done a few of these where for major, the kind of events at scale that reach up 100,000 and above, just ensuring that there is absolute clarity about, one, protection of rights, vendors, public safety, all of these things, to really just give everyone from CVC and police the clarity to run a safe, solid event. So.
They actually, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, but these special event zones seem to work out very well.
We've done them now about 3 a year,
what I thought.
Fourth and New Year's, and yes, they've worked. We've tweaked each one, and they have worked very well. And I think this past weekend's demonstration with ATVs and things gave us reason to say the police need to control the event zone.
I thought about that.
And the right to shoot people on ATVs.
No, whole nother topic.
Pam.
Call the question.
Dragon cop down the
I
road.
believe that was a guns down, bikes up event. as I recall.
There we go.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none.
I have one thing before we close. I was just going to ask if we could get an overall email or something about the schedule and the things that are going to happen sent to us so we can send out to our constituents, because they're going to ask, where do we go? How do we?
We have a clearinghouse webpage for the entire NFL draft.
Okay.
At Music City, but
All right.
If Terry hasn't sent it to everyone, I'll make sure that we get that. 'Cause
Oh,
it's-
okay.
It's up and available.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.